Good afternoon. I hope everybody can hear me well. We're going to wait 1 more minute until 2:35 Eastern Time, and then we're going to start our meeting. I would ask all of you who are not going to be speaking at time to mute yourself, so that we can improve audio experience. You can see me now, I hope. My name is Mauricio Castrillon, and I am head of commercial operations for Consensus International. We're going to be sharing with you a webinar around warehousing optimization with SAP Business One and with WiSys Agility Essentials, our partners for warehouse management solutions. Now that we are kind of on 2:35, let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video so that we can optimize the bandwidth, the user bandwidth, and then we will continue sharing, of course, the screen and the presentations along with our colleagues from WiSys. I'm going to be joined by Aaron Armendariz, sales consultant from WiSys, and Scott Long, director of product marketing from WiSys. There are long and very successful partners of Consensus and, of course, of SAP Business One and an entire ecosystem. As we mentioned, we're going to be talking about warehouse optimization around SAP Business One and WiSys Agility Essentials. The first thing that I wanted to introduce to make sure that, put the whole solution in perspective, if you allow me less than 5 minutes, is to talk about SAP Business One, the integrated intelligent enterprise. Is SAP's solution for small and medium-sized companies. For those of you who are not necessarily familiar with SAP and the latest development, the inner ring that you see there is what has come, traditionally with SAP Business One, covering all the administrations, the sales process, the purchasing process, the manufacturing, the warehouse management also as well, mobile solutions and the fourth. And the outer core are some of the technology advantages that SAP has brought along in their latest developments over the past few years. One of them is, of course, the HANA platform that allows SAP Business One to run completely in-memory computing. The HANA platform also allows the whole system to have very powerful business intelligence, key performance indicators and dashboards native to SAP Business One. The capability or the possibility going around in the circle clockwise of running SAP Business One on-premise in your own solutions, in your own servers, as you say, or on the cloud, whether it's single tenant or multi-tenant, mobile solutions, and of course it's a platform rather than exclusively an ERP, extensible with a number of solutions that integrate seamlessly. One of them is WiSys, that extend the functionality specifically for warehouse management systems, and this is what we're going to be talking about. And of course, being able to integrate it to other systems, outside systems, e-commerce platforms, and the like. The newest additions, what you see on the right-hand side, are the latest innovation tools that SAP comes with. A number of capabilities in terms of connecting SAP Business One to what is called today the Internet of Things. So we can connect SAP Business One with pretty much anything and everything. Things, sensors, machines, and the like can be connected with SAP Business One to make sure that the digital enterprise is fully achieved. Robotics and machine learning are also incorporated in specifically, for instance, the version 10 that is coming out as a beta in this month of October. Version 10 has some artificial intelligence code already embedded in the purchasing processes. The fulfillment, the purchasing process has artificial intelligence capabilities already in it. With these capabilities, you can easily, incorporate new business models that up until now were not easily achieved. This type of things include, for instance, for those of you who manage like a wholesale type of business, business to business, you can then reach business to consumer and add additional business volumes, integration with e-commerce, integration with natural language tools. SAP Business One is integrated with voice. I'm sorry, I moved a little bit ahead. Voice as with Alexa. A little bit more details in terms of the standard coverage of SAP Business One, as I mentioned, covers everything from the third one on, if you will, the sales process from campaign management. Everything deals with quotations to sales orders, deliveries, invoices, multiple price lists, purchasing operations, purchase requests to vendors. That's the web-enabled request for quotation to RFQ. Of course, good receipts, good returns, complete inventory and distribution management solution with multiple warehouses and managing bins and all the transactions. This is augmented significantly for those companies that need additional functionality with apps such as WiSys, and we're going to be talking in detail about that. Our colleagues from WiSys are going to be talking about that. Production and material requirement planning, project management, and of course, an accounting solution second to none. Those are some of the things that SAP Business One brings for the operations of integrated for the companies that use SAP Business One. Specifically, this is my last slide, as I promised. SAP Business One helps you to achieve optimization in terms of warehouse management capabilities. You can automatically manage your warehouse and your inventories, your multiple warehouses, as we mentioned, managing FIFO, LIFO, and moving average and standard costing, units of measures and packaging, serial and batch number management, and all the transactions associated with it. And of course, all the transactions that deal with moving of the inventory, receiving, putting away, inventory and consignment, drop shipping, of course, managing back orders so that you can do order fulfillment exactly the time that it needs to be. But some companies require additional flexibility or additional functionality in managing your inventory. These companies that require additional functionality, there is a solution for that, and as Steve Jobs mentioned, there is an app for that. And WiSys, our partners for warehouse management system, has a very comprehensive solution that integrates seamlessly with SAP Business One to optimize your logistics and your fulfillment of transactions. So I would like to introduce our colleagues from WiSys, and as I mentioned, we're joined by Aaron Armendariz and Scott Long. they're going to be sharing, introducing WiSys specifically and giving us a demo of their warehouse management solution. We're going to be having a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So please text your questions, and we will be able to answer the questions at the end of the presentation. So what I would ask our colleagues from WiSys is to share your screen, and the audience is all yours. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. This is Scott Long. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at WiSys. I assume everybody can see my screen.
Yes, we can. Fantastic.
Okay, well, it's a little bit late, but this webinar is being recorded, so there will be a video that you'll be able to get and view and share later. Just go over some of the benefits of a WMS system. Besides the traditional obvious ones, I want to get down to competition. Being able to match your competition, beat your competition, do what you have to do to compete in the market space. And most importantly, to be able to adapt to your customer needs. You need to react and incorporate various customer requirements right into your daily operations without really affecting your operations. So some of the things that we offer about being able to print labels on demand for various items and customers, and producing paperwork that's unique to things that you're producing, shipping, that sort of helps with the whole workflow and adapting to specific customer needs. WiSys has been around for 15 years. We have a lot of customers. We're certified in both the SAP Business One HANA environment and the SQL environment. We have a few different products I'm just going to briefly go over. We have our Essentials, which is our base foundation, which does pretty much all the transactions that coincide with all the standard Business One transactions. We use all the Business One tables, so there's no syncing of information between two different systems. We use all the native screens and fields within Business One, including if you have some user-defined tables and user-defined fields. And we have various ways to look at the data. Obviously, one is through a handheld device. You can use tablets, and we also have a desktop solution. We have a pallet module, and it really should be labeled containers, where we allow you to produce the pallets, pack pallets, move pallets and cartons around the warehouse. So you're working with a larger number, and then be able to do letdowns into picking and packing areas. Our fulfillment module allows you to do packaging of specific cartons for orders, load pallets, ship pallets, print bills of lading, print labels, and integrate FedEx, UPS, and USPS. And that is also our product that would integrate with your EDI solution. Our Agility Desktop is a desktop. You could run our desktop solution from within Business One, or you can run the grids and graphs and screens and so forth outside of Business One with an indirect license. But it's your way to centralize and create workspaces for the different functional areas of the company. We have a design tool that we use internally, and customers can purchase it also, that allows us or you to modify your forms, your handheld or your tablet forms, to put unique logic or unique fields on those forms. This is also where we tie in label printing and crystal reports and so forth into the handheld mobile device. This design tool also allows us to create desktop grids, which I'm going to show you in more detail, but these are the workspaces I just referred to that allow you to sort of put all your data together within Business One and view it in a grid format. So what I wanted to do is actually, let's start taking a look at the software itself. So I have a Business One session called up, and then I have an emulator with a handheld device. So each specific handheld device has the ability to have some options. You could define like receiving bins, production bins, transfer bins, warehouses, what language we want to work in. We have right now we have Latin American and English. And then we also have the ability for reports. So if there was a report that needed to be printed, let me get one here. Each specific device can identify which of the report, because we could have multiple reports printing with one transactions, and where does this device want the report to go to? And this screen, I have really all the functionality that's available on it. Each specific user you can tailor to have only the functions that you want them to use on the screen. We have various setup options, including do you want batches to show up on certain transactions? We can actually auto-create batch and serial numbers on production receipts and PO receipts. And there's a lot of user-definable logic that can be put into that. We can define printing. So when certain transactions occur, such as maybe a PO receipt, we could print labels, we can print documents, we can print pallet license plates. So you have that controlled by items, by item groups, by customers, and so forth. And then we adhere to all the standard SAP authorizations. So if I take a look at a purchase order I have set up, what I did is I have a receiver, purchase order receiver that is barcoded, and this could be something that is printed from the handheld device or printed in advance if you need it. So just to walk through what our screens could look like or do look like, we're scanning the order number. Then I can start walking through the items that are on the order, the quantity, and I have this all going to a doc, which is the bin, and then I scan through. And in this case, I have all the 3 transactions batched, and I'm going to go ahead and post those. That immediately updates SAP with the goods receipt PO. Since I received everything to the dock, I could then do a put away. And it's just a matter of scanning the items that are waiting to be put away. What bin do I want to go to? And then the quantity. So I have 124 in this area, and there was 24 on the last shipment. So I can proceed to put away the product as necessary. And that right there is automatically updating SAP immediately.
What Scott's also showing you there, guys, is that this process can be validated. If he were to put in the incorrect, scan the wrong item, it would give him a stop error, so he can't continue to go forward. So another layer of validation for you there as well. He's also using, he can scan there, or he's also doing a lookup as well. If you notice, he hit the 3 little hamburger dots there. That allows him to do a quick lookup of the items if he doesn't, he's unable to scan it. So just wanted to add that to it as well.
And then we have the traditional transactions within Business One, right? The inventory, goods issue, receipts, warehouse transfers, which just takes it from one warehouse and one warehouse or warehouse bin. Simple bin transfers, be able to take the inventory transfer requests that are preloaded by somebody, and then maybe you get a print off of the inventory transfer request and then processing those transactions. And then what I want to also show you is sales order deliveries. So we know with Business One, there's a lot of ways to ship something out the door, right? We can go right from a sales order, print a pick list, and do a delivery order. We could take a sales order and generate a traditional pick list in the pick and pack manager, or we could take groups of sales orders and put them into one pick list through the pick and pack manager. So all those transactions are available, and you're obviously not going to have them all on the handheld device. You're going to pick and choose, which processor, that you're going to be using. But what I did is I just printed a barcoded pick list off the sales order. I can start walking through each of the items. I would go and I would scan the bin that the item is in and the quantity remaining to ship or to deliver. And then I would just start walking through. And just like SAP, I batched those 3 items and I posted them and I created a sales order delivery. To start taking advantage of directed picking, I have another example here where I created a pick list and I created one pick list for a sales order. For this scenario, we can actually do directed picking off of a pick list where we have multiple sales orders on one pick list. But I'm just going to show you our directed picking. So now I would scan the pick list number. And then as you can see, it starts walking me through the bins, in this case in bin number order. And I would just verify the item. I'd verify the bin and how many am I going to pick. And then it's going to walk me through to the next bin, which would be that item, that bin, the quantity. Here that lets me know that the pick is fully picked. I could stop here, but the way I have this set up is I'm going to actually execute the delivery. So if I go back to the pick ticket, they're picked and I created the sales order delivery. So this is where we start doing composite transactions in SAP, where we're doing picking, and in this case, creating the delivery order. We could have automatically printed some labels, maybe for the cartons that I was picking. I could have also printed off the delivery order packing slip right then from the handheld to go to a local printer. On the production side of Business One and WiSys Agility, we have a production menu. Again, I have a production order created, 293. I have a couple items of this order that are manually issued. And I have the ability to do my production issues from this handheld device. So as I'm taking product over to production, and I'm picking it, the second item that is manually issued, and as soon as I hit enter, we can see that those transactions are occurring immediately within Business One. Since everything else is backflushed, I can do a production receipt. So again, that same production order. I have this set to go to a production bin, and then I do a put away. But the quantity remaining on the production order to make is 5, so I'm just going to go ahead and process that. And I have a label going to be printing. This might be a pallet label, but in this case, it's just a label for the carton that I'm filling. And as soon as that happened, that updates SAP Business One immediately. The other big game changer we have is the ability to do what we call composite transactions. So we can take multiple Business One transactions and put them all into one, either mobile function or a desktop function. So one that really shows what we can do, it's called, we call it a production backfill, where I can just put in an item. What warehouse am I finishing it up to? What bin am I going to receive it into? And in this case, I'm going to make 20 pieces. I hit enter. What Agility is doing right now is it just created another production order. It released it. It went from planned to released. It did a production completion transaction and backflushed all the components and flagged the production order as closed. So this is, some systems call it a just-in-time transaction. We call it a production backfill, where I don't necessarily want to print a production order and go through the process on the floor. I just say, hey, I made this many items, or I kitted this many items. It backflushes all the components and resources and does all the transactions. So right there alone, it did a production order create, a release, the component issue, the completion, and closed out the production order, which is 5 transactions in Business One. And again, we just use the standard Business One tables for all of this. So we have the full traceability of here's my backflushing transactions. Here's my backflushing transactions for the resources. Here's my production completion. So all those transactions are done from one, in this case, one mobile screen. Switching over to our Agility Desktop, which we sort of refer to them as workspaces. So, you know, we really have quite a few of these that can be built and that we have built with the system. So here, if I'm just going to look at a grid for purchase orders, here I'm just looking at, in this case, all my open purchase orders. We can do some things with color coding based on alerts and rules that you have defined. From here, we can actually go in and open up a new purchase order screen or a purchase request. So this would give me an area where I can look at some purchase orders. Let's take a look at the sales order grid. So now here I'm looking at all my open sales orders. I have some alerts set up. This bright red means that these sales orders are unapproved. The darker red means the sales orders are overdue. And we have the ability to highlight a row, see the components down here. We have the ability to have some different layouts. So I could have one by customer. I set up one by transportation method for shipping, or in this case, show me all the truck deliveries. You also have the ability to tailor these grids. So if I wanted to move the due date around, hide fields that aren't going to be used, add some new fields that are behind the scenes on the grid but aren't showing up. And then I have the ability to save those maybe by user or groups or customers. And of course, similar to Business One, we have the ability to export this to Excel. One of the grids okay, we'll let that run. One of the grids that I've been working on is a batch transaction. So what I have here is all my open sales orders. And just looking through this here, similar to what we just saw, I have my order numbers, my due dates. If things were unapproved, I would see that. And here I just put some information out here, like this sales order has 11 line items. My first item is here. Maybe I want to look at all my orders that are smalls, maybe one line item on the order, and I can see what the first item is. If a pick list exists, I show the pick list and I can actually see the pick list status. This screen here starts incorporating our inventory allocations. We're behind the scenes, we're allocating supplies to demands. And the green means we have enough inventory allocated to meet the requirements of that specific order. And then what we're working on doing here is being able to generate batches. So if, say, I get a big Walmart order in that's got 200 orders on it, well, I could group those all into a batch. Maybe I want to call it the Walmart 1015 batch. So then I could start looking at orders that need to be processed by batch. How many orders are in the batch? What's the volume of the batch? I have some things with weight of the batch. Or if I want to go take a look at all 15 orders in this specific batch. So the ability to start looking at orders or group orders. Be able to print the pick lists. So in other words, I can just click on this batch and go ahead and print all 15 pick lists for them to be printed, picked. I'm also playing around with being able to pre-print carton labels. And these may even come down from maybe we pre-print UPS or FedEx labels, so you put those right on the carton or the bag, right for picking. And then the ability right from here, if we choose to actually go ahead and process delivery orders in SAP, sales order delivery orders, and then print the packing slips. We're also using a screen like this. It's not done yet, but to be able to generate SAP pick lists. So obviously you can go into your sales orders in SAP and do a right click and generate pick list, or you can use the pick and pack manager, or you're going to be able to use this sales order batch management screen to go ahead and take sales orders, and maybe we want to put all 4 sales orders on one pick list, and then use our directed picking to optimize it. And then again, we're picking printing paperwork and so forth. I just touched on it briefly, but we're in the process of, it's in beta right now, of coming up with an inventory allocation. And so obviously SAP already has the available to promise. But what our inventory allocation is going to do is actually take all the supplies and demands from all the different places in Business One, right? Could be from forecasts, sales orders, purchase requisitions, and start mirroring quantity on hand to specific demands. And also other supplies, like this purchase order, 575 is allocated to order 491. Now this allocation could be done because you created a purchase order for a sales order line, or you simply had a purchase order open and it's going to allocate those. So in this case, purchase order 577, it's available. There's 24 pieces that are coming in that there's no demand calling for it. So just playing around with some different views. Here I can see in Warehouse 1, I have 45 available right now. In Warehouse 5, I have 3,323 available in the warehouse. I have a purchase order that's not calling for any demands. And then I have some transfers coming from another warehouse that aren't calling for demands. So we're taking this to the point where I can take a look at an open sales order and look at the supplies for each line. So in this case, every line item is coming from inventory quantity on hand. So that would tell me I could release a pick ticket, right? And go ahead and pick and ship this thing. Same thing when I have, I'm looking at a purchase order. This one's sort of cheating because I created this for a sales order. But here I can look at a purchase order and see what's calling for this purchase order. In this case, a sales order is calling for it, but this purchase order could be for multiple sales orders, and then the remaining goes against production, and then maybe something else goes towards quantity on hand. So when I'm looking at a purchase order, I can see the demands for that purchase order, and we do the same thing on the production order side. So here I have a production order. I can see the demands for the parent item, and it means it's available. It means I'm making 15,000 of these items and there's nothing calling for it. I also have the ability to look at the components. And here I can see some of the items are coming from quantity on hand, but others are coming from purchase orders that haven't been received. And then we have some lids that are being demanded that I don't have anything. I'm short. I don't have a PO. I don't have an inventory or anything. So where this comes in handy on production is if you have a lot of components and you don't want to release this order or print the paperwork for production until you have enough on hand or all your components are available. Just some of the things that are sort of subtle is you can take these desktop grid functions that you create or we create and put them off the SAP menus. You can also create right-click menu options. So now when these grids could be associated, you can just pass it the order number or the doc entry number, and you're running a specific query for this document that you're looking at. So it just makes it handy to make this easy to use, and for most functions that a user would want to run to just be one click away. We also have a lot of our videos are being posted to YouTube and our online documentation website. So they're just short 1 to 2 minute videos that teach you about the Agility Essentials and palette functions. And we're working on putting them out there for the fulfillment functions. But if you wanted to see any of these, just go to our website. I'm not going to go through just show you the gist of it. So what we're trying to do there is just show short videos that you can give to a picker or somebody who's going to be using these handhelds, and they can get a little 1 or 2 minute refresher on how that function works, just to try to make the training a little bit easier. So those are the topics that I wanted to cover in this session. Like we mentioned earlier, this has been recorded, and Consensus could send you the link to the video. And I think now we would take some questions if there are any, or if you want to see have us do a thorough discovery meeting, this session, and set up a custom demonstration for you, just really contact Mauricio, and we'll put that together.
Hey Scott, we do have one question so far right now on the chat here. If you would like to answer that one, I'll explain it to you. One of our attendees has asked, is every WiSys license attached to an SAP Business One license? And what type of SAP business license is needed?
So yes, that device is connected to a SAP Business One license. It could be one of the traditional ones like professional or the limited licenses, or it could be an indirect license. So a handheld user does not have to be one of the more expensive licenses. You could just use an indirect license or use the indirect server instance for the mobile device and the desktop. Now you create a user in Business One, even if you just have an indirect license, because you have to give it authorizations. And we want to know who does the transaction.
So the nice thing about WiSys, especially the desktops, it allows you to use a WiSys license without using a full SAP professional license. Our licensing is priced different than that, so you wouldn't need to get a full license for that as well.
Correct. And there's desktop functions that we have built and that can be built that could be used by users who don't necessarily need full Business One licenses, right? Like, I think you can still see this. We have a production resource grid, and these would be all the open production resource rows. And this could turn into really a work center dispatch report, to where we're keeping track of what needs to be worked on and when, have some user-defined statuses. And we have a customer that actually takes this and projects this out into the shop on the wall and have it set for automatic refresh. So you don't have to have a full Business One license for this. An indirect license would work.
I believe that's all the questions we have right now, unless anybody else would like to ask any more. We'll send it back to Mauricio. Thank you. Oh, we do have one question. Can you share devices or licenses?
Yeah, so the licenses are concurrent for the WiSys devices. So they're not named users. We would be, obviously if you had one license and 2 users, only one could be using it at a time. But you can share it, between shifts. You can have a handheld device that's, being used or not used.
Yeah, I believe that was her question, was based on shifts, if you could use it for a second shift and use the same WiSys license. So that is correct. Okay.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Scott, and thanks, Aaron. That was a very, very instructive presentation and demo. Proves the capabilities of SAP Business One and, of course, WiSys Agility Essentials tools. As we mentioned, the presentation is being recorded. We truly appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time in our next webinar. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.